Hi, in this video tutorial we'll see how to create a function that will mix two images together. We can take as an example in Photoshop, and when I place this image over this one, and I will change the mix method to add. As you can see, we just obtained this. The black color just disappeared. Why? Because what we are doing here, we are if you take a look at this graphic, as we can see, what we are doing when we mix an image over another image using the add method. We are adding the color this color pixel from this small image to the equivalent color pixel of the main big image, and we are doing this for all the pixels in here contained in this small image. So like if I take this pixel as an example, we're just adding it to its equivalent pixel from the big image, which is the one just below it. And every color pixel has 3 sub-elements, red, green, and blue, RGB. And since black, its sub-elements RGB are all equal to 0, okay? So that's why the black color just disappeared, okay? And so we'll be creating this function in Unity. It will help us, how to mix two Texture2D together. So let's go back to our Unity. So to start, we need to create, if we are creating a function, it's better just to create a class in the and we had to create this class in the beginning. And this class, we'll call it, like, for example, compute bitmap. So to make sure that everything are kind of clear about what we are going to do, what we are going to do, actually, we are creating a function that is going to mix every pixel from this image. Every pixel. We call this image we call it like sprite. Just we call it sprite because it's like a smaller image than this one. Anyhow, so we'll be mixing the pixels with the pixels from the main image, okay? And every pixel from the small image will be added with the equivalent pixels from the main image. I hope it's clear enough. Anyhow, so let's go back to our Unity, and let's create so we need to create our class that will contain this function that just will mix two textures together, okay, using the add method from Photoshop. So I'll just create. We will call it like compute bitmap. The class bitmap. And then I'll just open my C# script. And my class won't be like a derived class from a mono behavior, so I'll just delete that. And I won't be using any void start or void update. And okay. So I'll just create my first function. My first function will be like a public function that will return a texture 2D, and since we are mixing two textures, the results are a texture 2D as well, and I will name it just bitmaps mix or add mix. And my method will take as parameters two textures 2D, since we are mixing two textures. So we need to declare them texture 2D we'll call the first one main texture, and a second Texture2D, we'll call it like sprite texture. We close our parentheses, curly braces, we'll close it, and it will return for now just a null. So we need to know, we need to know like where we are placing our sprite texture. So if you go back to our graphic, so we need to know the place where I am placing the coordinate of the point where I am placing my sprite color, my sprite texture over the main texture. So I need to know this coordinate that are calculated from this point. So this point is our 0 x 0 y point, the center. Okay, and so we need to know this the coordinate of this point. This point is the center of my represent the center of my sprite. Okay, sprite texture. So we need to know this point, and also we need to know the starting point. So from where I am going to mix the pixels of the sprite texture with the main texture. So we need to know this point as well. Very important to know, like the pixels are stored like in rows, arranged in this way. Like this one is the first pixel, this one is the first pixel, this one is the second, and so on and so forth, like that. And once we arrive to this pixel, we'll just go back to this one, and again the same thing. Okay, so they are arranged like so, like that, like that. So when you arrive at this pixel, we'll go back and to this point, to this pixel, and again like that. So we need to know the coordinate of this point. We will call it like our first point. Okay. Since we will be giving these coordinates, so what we need to know. We need to know like the position of where we are going to place our sprite. Like we'll call it like the center sprite, since it will represent the center of our sprite texture, this one. And we need to know also the first point from where we are going to start mixing the pixels together from the sprite texture and the main texture. Okay, so it will be like this point. We will call it like first point. And what we know already, like the main texture width and height, the same for the sprite width and height. And for the center of the sprite, we can know it since we are going to give it. We'll choose like as an easy example the center of this main texture will be it will be our center point for this texture as well. Okay, we'll start like from an easy example, and then we'll make it more general later, adding like the condition and stuff like that. And so our center point of this sprite texture will be also the center of the main texture. Okay, as I said, as an easy example. Okay, as an easy way to start. It will not. Okay, so we need to, as I said, we need to know like var the position of our center sprite x. We'll put like, since in my example I'll be using like a main texture with that has a width of 512 and a height of 512, and the sprite will have like a width of 256 by 250 and a height of 256. So the center would be like of my sprite texture will be like 256. Since I said I will be placing my sprite in the center of the main texture, and since the main texture has a 512 by 512, so the center will be like 256 by 256. The center sprite will be placed like in 256 by 256. Okay. So another var center sprite y equal to 256. And we need to know also the main texture, or we'll call it just main width, which is the width of the main texture. So we'll call just main width is equal to main texture dot width, and the same for the height. Main texture also the same we need to know for the sprite width, which is the width of my sprite texture, with var sprite height is equal to sprite texture height. Okay. And we need to know also we need to place actually all the color pixels from the main texture in a color array, and the same for the sprite texture. We need to place all its pixels into a color pixel into a color array, and we'll be doing it like so. Sprite, we'll start with the main color. Main color will be our color array. The main color will be equal to main texture dot get pixel will give us pixels. So it's a get pixels. It's a function that will return a color array, okay, of the main texture. Okay. The same for the sprite texture. So we need to know like sprite color. It's color array that will contain all the pixels information from our sprite texture. Get pixels. Okay. What else do we need to know? So yes, we need to determine the first point, the coordinate of the first point. This color pixel, we need to know its coordinate from this point, okay? Since it's a coordinate like from the sprite texture are 0, 0, because it is like our first pixel, but like from the main texture, it has like a coordinate x and y that we need to know, and we need to calculate it. Okay. It's like this coordinate x, for if we take like, if we need to know like x, the coordinate x, so it will be this x minus half of our sprite width. Okay. So I repeat, for the x coordinate, it will be like the x coordinate of the center sprite, okay, minus the half of the width of our sprite texture, half. Okay. Let's see this one. So this one is our center point, and this one is our first point. So the x coordinate is the x coordinate of the center point sprite minus half the width of the sprite. Okay. And the same for y. So var first point x is equal center sprite x minus sprite width divided by 2, half the width. Okay, and the same for the y coordinate. First point y coordinate are equal to our center point y. What the hell? Oof, I made a lot of mistakes. This one is sprite, not center sprite, not certain point. Center sprite. Okay, center sprite y minus sprite height divided by 2. Okay, we know our the coordinate of our first point, so we can start to write our loop that will mix all the pixels from the sprite with the equivalent pixels of the main texture. And I forgot to add something else. Actually, we need to also to have a color array that will be the result of the mixing between the main color array and the sprite color array. We call it like a result color equal. It will have the same in the beginning, like to start, it will have the same color information, color array information like the main color. So just write main texture get pixels. Okay.